Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast. This edition of the Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Axon started out of a passion for keeping agriculture moving. Imagine having 100 years of tire and wheel knowledge in your back pocket the next time you sell a piece of ag equipment. To find more or become an Axon dealer, please visit axontire.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours. No matter how you buy your ag equipment, whether it's from a dealer, an auction, or a private party, AgDirect can help you finance it. You can even apply online at agdirect.com. Learn more about your financing options at agdirect.com. TractorZoom has access to over $20 billion in heavy equipment sales data. TractorZoom's Iron Comps is the industry's trusted solution for transparent equipment values and auctionable pricing insights. This podcast is brought to you by Anvil AppWorks. The Dealer Connect CRMI app with integrated inventory management is an affordable Salesforce-based solution for your dealership. Create connected customer experience and transform how you work.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.
Hello and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast number 287. This edition of the Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by Axon Tire, helping dealers move more iron for the past 100 years. For more information, go to axontire.com. Axon would also like to give the loyal listeners of the Moving Iron Podcast a free Axon desk pad. Anyone who emails marketing at Axon Tire, they will send you an Axon desk pad. Make sure you mention you heard about this on the Moving Iron Podcast. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours. No matter how you buy ag equipment, from a dealer, auction, or private party, AgDirect can finance it. You can even apply online at agdirect.com. Learn more about our financing options at agdirect.com. TractorZoom has access to over $20 billion in heavy equipment sales data. TractorZoom's Iron Comps is the industry's trusted solution for transparent equipment values on auctionable pricing insights. And finally, this podcast is brought to you by Anvil AppWorks. Their Dealer Connect CRMI app with integrated inventory management is an affordable Salesforce-based solution for your dealership. Create connected customer experiences and transform how you work. Okay, so this edition of the podcast is being recorded from the Moving Iron Summit in Nashville, and got a special group with us here today. We have Dave Peffley and Clint Christie with Cook Auction out of Missouri, Dwayne Schulten from Schulten's Equipment out of Washington, and Rob and Ryan Randall from Randall Brothers in Ohio. This is last year was the first year the summit was open to all colors. This year, we opened it to some wholesale channels, and you guys are here. So this is your first one. Welcome.
Thanks for the invitation.
You bet. You bet. Glad to have you here and get some true used the real world angle to look at all this stuff. So, guys from Cook, what's going on in your part of the world?
Well, it's been good, just like it has everywhere else. I think we've seen a little more dry and droutier type conditions in our area, so maybe our local market hasn't been quite as strong as some other places due to that, but overall our bean crop looks good. Things look good going into the fall. Auctions have been strong. Prices have been good. I mean, it's just been pretty solid, but kind of like the entire market.
Yeah, the entire globe.
Yeah.
If it's farm machinery and it's here, it's sold. I totally get it. Are you seeing anything soften, kind of like from last year to this year?
I would say maybe not specifically one type of machinery or piece of machinery, but in general, average stuff at auction is dropping.
I would.
For a while, average stuff was selling lights out.
Right.
With the average, we've seen a pullback at our sales.
Yep.
And just even putting it in the absolute road, selling it for whatever
Sure.
it's going to bring, it's a little tough to get people to bid sometimes.
Yeah, that 10,000 or 10-year-old 5,000 hour tractor in March was worth 30,000 more than it is today, for damn sure. That kind of stuff has kind of gotten some sanity back to it. It seems like I would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Dwayne, what are you seeing up in the corner over there?
We're pretty sheltered from everywhere else in the United States, so I mean it's a unique area. We've had the best 2 years of Skolton Equipment's history. I mean, but most of that's been Kubota. Ironically, we're a Kubota dealer, and ever since COVID happened, it's kind of embarrassing to admit that we've been the beneficiary of COVID. I mean,
Sure.
Who would have thought that? And so the consumers came out of the woodwork to buy little tractors because they were stuck at home. And it blew us away. While we were kind of gearing up to possibly shrink, suddenly we had to reverse everything. So we're a good-sized Kubota dealer, and we were slammed the whole time, still are.
Yeah, forced to stay home and got a check to stay home, so perfect. You're there to help.
Yeah, we were. I mean, it's been a good couple of years for Skolton's Equipment, that's for sure.
Excellent. Are you seeing anything kind of normalize or soften up in that realm?
We're starting to see sales flatten just a little bit the last couple of months, but you kind of had to expect that at some time.
Yeah.
I mean, it actually continued on longer than we thought it would. So it's definitely flattened, but we're still busy. Interest rates are going to change a lot of stuff. That's yeah. And then, ironically, we have no price protection anymore. That kind of all went out the window. And that happened in the last 60 days. These manufacturers, we're not going to price protect anything. Even though we said we're not.
Right.
Just go, wow, okay.
Sorry, thanks for being a dealer.
Yeah, so some of that's changed. But it's been a good run. I mean, you do this for 40 years, and all of a sudden the last 2 years end up being the 2 best years you ever had. You just kind of go, whoo. Didn't ever expect it to end this way. I expected it to be wheeled out the door and, well, you're done.
Right.
Kicked out, right? But yeah, it's been good.
Good. Randall's, what's going on in your part of the world over there?
It's wild, just like everywhere else. Things keep climbing, keep getting higher. You devote most of your time to trying to acquire the equipment and pay more than you ever have. Cross your fingers.
Right.
Obviously we're not seeing as much sell. You used to see 5 of the same items sell every week, and it's pretty easy then to determine what the market is. Well, when you see 1 of something sell every 2 or 3 weeks, and it brings God knows how much it'll bring.
Right.
Then you're really messed up in the head. But we do have a super crop growing. It sure looks good. It's not in the bin yet. Sure ain't sold yet, but in my opinion, I personally feel if the market holds strong, I think we could see the absolute wildest December we've ever seen.
Oh, absolutely.
But that is just my opinion. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's just my outlook.
Yeah, I could totally agree with that. Last December was pretty damn wild on its own.
Oh,
so
it was.
And that was before the year we've had this year. So.
Yeah. Another thing that really doesn't quite get factored in is the amount of stuff that does get exported out too.
Absolutely.
And there's no doubt with the limited amount of production that's going on today that there is not that flooding or opening of the gates that it's coming in. So there's a demand for that, and how much is being left the country too is a major factor why I think we can see a very wild December.
Yeah.
And I very well could be wrong too, but
And you guys do a fair amount of export. How's that been this year?
well, for obvious reasons, Ukraine's been down.
Right.
Just
a little bit.
They're still active. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not totally shut off. They have done some.
Yeah.
I mean,
We had a couple sprayers over there in the last couple months.
Right.
So
I mean, I'd say it's probably down 90%, wouldn't you?
Yeah, not anywhere near what we were, but we've still sold several items that's went there. South America's been extremely busy here.
Yeah. Do you get a lot of China activity too?
Yeah, no, there's been several go to China, and that whole deal's a little head scratching.
Yeah.
It's hard to figure out, but
Right.
yeah, it's busy, it's good, it's confusing, and you just roll with it.
Yep.
You know, you just have everything in the world working against you. You got limited production, you got cost of new going up, and, you know, it's just, with not being able to get your hands on it, well, what is the piece worth?
Right.
You know,
And you know, another kind of funny conversation, everybody always says, well, when's it gonna tank? When's it gonna tank? I don't know all you guys' opinion. I don't ever look for it to tank. I think it will plane off and level out. Demand could go down just a little bit, but I don't foresee prices.
Well, and that's kind of what I was alluding to in that roundtable,
Right.
that panel yesterday. We don't have the problems that we did in 14 to sift through. We just don't.
Right.
There's no machine population out there, you know. The one thing that, being on the dealer side of this and seeing all of our deals and talking to neighboring dealers with pretty good relationship, there's a substantial amount of stuff bought with no trade. Substantial. And they're not selling that, and they're not using it on the farm. So is there going to be a mini glut of all the producers who hung on to their stuff, and as they start hearing the chatter about softening, they go dump all that?
So in my opinion, I don't think so. And this just in one case, I think back to last year where we had a local customer that came in and bought a second S670 combine, not because he needed
Right.
a second S670 combine, but because his dealer went to him and say, hey, if you have a breakdown, we can't guarantee
Parts.
you that we're gonna get parts to get you back going.
Right.
So I think that plays a lot into the reason why we've seen so few of trades.
Back up.
It's backup. These guys are scared to death that their combine or their main tractor or their planter is gonna go down,
Right.
and they're gonna be weeks
Yeah.
without being able to go.
Yeah,
You know,
because you go into the dealership and you want that part next day aired in the morning, might be 2 days, and that's still as fast as you're going to get it. Yeah,
And if 2
that
years
makes
ago
sense.
somebody would have ever said that was the case and that was gonna go on, you'd looked at it cross-eyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
and I would have
anything.
done that as well now had this guy not come in and specifically told us that's
Right.
why he bought that combine. He was a 1,500 acre farmer. He did not need 2 combines.
Right.
No, and I think you're 100% right to piggyback on what you said. I mean, and trades is a good part of ours. You know, yeah, we try to make a little bit, you know, on that. But like guys that come in with that trade, I haven't stressed to them, but I've told them, I'd be like, you know, I don't think it'd be anything wrong with having a backup to everything you have, because, you know, you take the littlest part that will shut you down, shuts that entire machine down.
Right.
You know, and that's, you know, just to piggyback on what Dave said.
I agree. I don't think after the last 2-3 years, that them guys with the no trades that didn't come in, they're going to keep them. And they're not pressured to sell them. You know, when prior to the last 2 years, they had a trade because they had equity and they
Right.
didn't have enough cash, right? Well, today it's paid for. There's no pressure on them to get rid of it. And you know, I've been doing this 40 years. My phone used to ring on weekends a lot. You know, because that's what we did. You know, you call if you got trouble. You're servicing a dairy farmer.
Yep.
Now, I bet you I don't get one phone call a month. And I still got that many cows in my, but all of these guys, they got backups. And
Right.
we've kind of trained them because, you know, it's double time on weekends and so I don't see that being an issue. I think they're pretty comfortable keeping all this iron on their place because they like having backups. They don't want to have to call us.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too. You know, you think back 10, 15 years ago when having a spare was the most outlandish, they would never dream of that. I don't want that thing. Get it the hell out of here. We're not using it, you know? And now it's, I need 2 of that, 2 of that, 2 of that. But
And like he said on that, you know, how many guys are getting, well, I got a few less acres this year.
Right.
I mean, a guy either gets more or he retires and he's getting out. So he probably does have a purpose for that second machine.
right. Well, and when I say the glut, I don't mean anything like what we did with 12 and 13 combines and all the 24-row planters that brought 100,000 less than they were advertised for and all that mess, because it's all gone, you know? So much of that is gone. It's exported, it's burned up, it's junk, it's wherever, and it's gone. So we don't, and when, you know, if we're looking at red and green, you know, S700s, 40s, 50s, there just aren't the excessive population, so there should not be the same problems.
Well, and I think when you start looking at it from a farmer's relative perspective, okay, say that this stuff does start slipping.
Sure.
Say that the price is on these 3,000 engine hour combines starts getting back to where it probably should be in the $60,000 range instead of the $90,000 to $100,000 range. You know, comparatively to what a new combine cost, if that combine's worth $60,000 and it's in the shed and you can put fuel in it and it can go run for 2 days while you're waiting on something else, what is $60,000 in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
And
especially if you have that one piece and you have to go rent one and nobody's going to rent one for 1, 2, 3 a week to go do. I mean,
it's our rental is $350 an engine hour, 100-hour guarantee, 2 weeks. That's your rental. So whether you put on 50 hours, doesn't matter. It's 100-hour minimum, so it's $35,000. You want to use that combine. Case in point, keep a 60,000 in the shed, and within our area, we saw a hell of a lot of that in all the 14 through 16 auctions. Like every one of our like B customers, all the A's, they've all got 2, maybe 3.
Yeah.
You know, because why wouldn't you?
And that may become a problem, but these guys already have 2.
Right.
You know, so you're not going to keep 3 or 4. I mean, that may be
Right.
a deal, but tractor wise, I don't think any farmer minds having 5 too many tractors.
Yeah, exactly. The biggest thing, you know, like we're sitting here talking, and this is very mindful to me in this room with you guys. You know, just like that, what was that, a 21 780 brought 476 on auction or some shit.
Yeah.
And we don't have a 780 that we're asking for 76 for, you know. So, but I know you have, I like to think we are at least a halfway smart in the used world dealer. There's plenty others that aren't, regardless of color. And the thing that scares me is you're not going to be 40,000 wrong on 40 combines. You're going to be 100 wrong, 150 wrong on 10.
Well, we've talked about that before is, okay, where does, you talk about your A customers or
Right.
your A farmers, that are farming large acres. Where's the next level's comfort level at purchasing?
Yes.
It doesn't have to, and we all know this, it doesn't matter how cheap something gets comparative to new to a farmer. If he doesn't need it, he won't buy it.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter how,
Right.
and it doesn't matter how cheap that gets.
You
and you got to understand it, man. So, but why would you too?
Right.
So it's not.
But so
not a
where
gift.
does that next level come in? I mean, if that combine's 450,000, is it 250,000 where that next guy feels comfortable buying in? Or is it 200?
You're exactly right. There's a gap coming that, and we don't know how big it is. Case in point. And what is it? Because we just, the news shit just keeps jumping, not climbing, jumping up.
Yeah,
and
$100,000 increase.
yeah, like everything, an 8R, a combine, half of the planters, everything is $500,000. How, can an A- even digest the 1-year-old used? You're going to come into a point where if you're buying new, please run that for 3 years at least so somebody can afford it when it comes back, or you get into some creative lease situations.
Yeah, it can just be an awful tough pill to swallow to give $350 for a combine and think you have to put another 30 in it.
Yeah.
Which was very, was a point I think you and Nebraska Harvest Center Dave Gibson were up yesterday. That's a very valid point. You're talking about the reconditioning and what was it? $150 a separator hour, I think, was kind of the guideline. $1,500 per 100 sep. So yeah. So divide by 10, but I mean that's a very value. I understand 200,000, 150,000, 250,000. That sounds like a ton of money, and it is.
Right.
And it is, but in perspective, when you are talking 30% of new, yeah, very well needs 23 in some reconditioning fees.
Yep.
But,
Yep.
Dwayne's sitting here thinking we're complaining about combine costs. That's cheap.
Yeah, no shit.
Chopper world.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's,
Hey, do you have a rule of thumb on choppers?
Yeah.
We've played with it, and I come up with 500.
500 what?
500 per hour.
Yeah, and it's probably never enough. If I have a customer breakdown, I try to talk them out of renting. I said, even if we're at $300 an hour for just the base machine, you still got to put your heads on it. I don't want to rent to you. And they look at you. I go, then I got to have 100 hours. I won't even. So I got parameters. If they don't have 100 hours, I'm not renting it. And then I try to talk them out of it because you got to pay cleanup costs too, and it's horrendous. Cleanup on a harvester is just.
Oh yeah.
So
you're never done.
we kind of trained our customers, hey, you don't want to be renting, and I don't want to rent to you because the knives always come back shot. I mean, it just doesn't work. But the funny thing is, I'm sitting in here with auction guys, and in the chopper world, in the forage harvester world, we don't have a lot of dealers that are good at forage harvesters. But the last thing I want to see happen is dealers get sucked into a trade and then panic. And guess where they liquidate it?
Yep.
At an auction yard that, may not sell enough harvesters, right? And all of a sudden, they flatten my retail market. And it just torques me off. And it happens a lot. I noticed there's a couple John Deeres today on auction time. I was going, why are we selling, 2-year-old John Deere harvesters on auction time? I hope they weren't yours, but.
No, they're not ours.
And I'm just going, it was, I better not say it. But anyway, I remember whose name was on them now, yeah. And you just go, that just kills the market. And that's.
But what's the alternative?
Well,
You can't hang on to it for 5 years. We've done that. The problem with choppers is, and you're exactly right, Dwayne. I think when it comes to choppers, you are 1,000% in or zero all the way out. Right. You cannot half-ass and pretend to be in the chopper business.
Or you're going to get burned. And I feel sorry for guys that jump in. I'm going, they're going to get a huge education. And then they're going to have a torqued off customer.
Yep.
No, we figure like 1,000 hours. If they haven't spent 30 grand on it, they have to.
Yes, yeah.
And the bigger choppers, it might be closer to 50 grand.
Yep.
The big 900 horse.
And I say you're very correct, because honestly, I try to tell, and I try to brace a lot of guys that come in that about every 1,000, and this is pre-COVID, pre-all this, that about every 1,000 separator hours on a combine, it needs $10,000 worth of iron. Iron, not
labor,
Parts.
not hook up my laptop.
Yeah, a lot of different things are different, whether
augers, chains, sprockets.
If they do it themselves, if they have somebody do it or an outside guy, I get all that, but you need to be braced for that.
Yes.
And if you don't, then more kudos to you.
And the other issue is that a farmer thinks he scored a big one on you. He calls me up and says, hey, Dwayne, we just bought a 1,500-hour chopper. And I go, has there been any money spent on it? No, the guy said it was all ready to go field. You just go, well, you're going to spend another 50 grand. Now suddenly there's dead silence on the other end of the phone. What? I go, yeah, that's what we put in every chopper we buy. We sell all of our cutters with warranty, and we're unusual there, but I'm used to it. I've been doing it for years, so we just go through them. So So they don't get that. So that market's really, when you see numbers all over the place, I'm not shocked. But yeah, there's usually a farmer or a dealer learning, oh, this is, or he may have bought it for a farmer he has and then doesn't realize, oh, you're going to stick a ton of money in this thing.
And everything, like you said, they said, well, it was field ready, like, and I see that term thrown around hugely in the used equipment business.
Oh, constantly.
And-
Shit, I send it out all the time, guys.
Yeah, I mean, field ready is the individual that said that.
Exactly.
Now, we also farm, so, I mean, field ready, you know, it depends what side of the counter you are sitting on when you talk field ready.
And your own field ready might be different. Is it, am I going to go plant 1,000 acres or am I going to go disc up that 40?
No, you're 100% right on that. I mean, field ready, like we might have just came out of the field. Well, the combine did come out of the field, the tractor, whatever piece of farm. Yeah. Like it came out of the field. It was running. Would it make another round? Well, sure. You know, if I would have had another 40 acres to do or another 500, I'd still be out there going like this. But I've also took them out of the field and went straight to the shop and dropped 30 in them.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, that is a term I see just loosely thrown around, and I hate to see people get sucked into that because, you know, that can be that depends on what side of the table you're on. Well, hey, you said that was field ready. Well, it wasn't field running.
Right.
But it can need this, and this. Absolutely.
Right.
But you
Field
know,
ready is the main ingredient to set a salesman up for failure.
There you go.
and usually when you're pressuring,
That's a great way to get a pissed off call about 7 o'clock at night.
Oh.
usually when you pressure the guy, he said, well, it was running when it came out of the field. The interpretation went full circle, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think, you know, one thing we're fighting in the industry, though, right now is not many of our customers know that one harvester, one forage chopper went up $100,000.
Right.
They haven't, we know it, but our customers still haven't. That's going to be kind of interesting to me when our customer finally finds out, you're kidding, it really did? And then suddenly that's going to change everything. I think, you know, I've been talking to several other the Kloss dealers, and I just go, this, you know, some of these customers are going to be in for a huge shock. And we don't even know if we can get them a machine for next year, right?
Yeah.
But that's still all to play in.
Why-
Most of the dealers know about it, but
Well, I wondered if you guys haven't had those conversations yet, because, okay, it goes up in cost $100,000. You can't, I mean, so the customer's got to pay $100 just to get back to where he was. You still haven't
Those
got-
are very difficult conversations because it, you know, for the health of the used side, you can't just swallow that.
no.
It can't go to the used. The used has to stand on its own. It's got to go
But
somewhere.
ironically, the used is still only worth what it was worth yesterday.
Exactly.
Right? Now, so we got there's a huge gap there now that we didn't have last year.
Right.
Well, it's maybe not, because that's remained to be seen yet. I mean, if there's no availability still on a chopper, the new chopper went up 100,000. So you went to your customer and asked him 175,000 to trade for 1 year and 500 hours. You know, so one comes up that's a year old at an auction that's got 300 hours on it. So do you get two guys? Because you can't get one that it brings an S790
there you
or
go.
470. I mean,
Yep.
that's the reason why that combine brought what it brought.
It's there. Yep.
But
It's there.
we're not anywhere close to those numbers. We got to have, and we can't trade a guy out of a 500-hour chopper because we'll never find a customer for that 500-hour chopper. Even if we drew $300,000-400 grand, we can't find a customer for that because them chopper customers want to buy new ones. It's fascinating what they'll pay for a new one and walk right by a nice low hours one. Different world.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, guys, I think that's a pretty good jumping off point. I want to thank all you guys for coming this year.
We appreciate
Great
it.
having you here, and thanks for sitting down for a little session. I hope it was okay, not too bad.
It was nice that John Deere dealers actually allowed somebody else to be here.
Well, you talk about the confidence boost. I feel like a new man. You know? I didn't know I was important or even on the map, and I feel like
there you go.
Well, I just hurt Aaron's feelings about 3 days before I came here. He asked me for a price on 2 cutters, and so
Yep. So I have extra fresh tears from him just on the flight here. Shit.
I mean, we bought a lot of stuff off you, and I feel good that you even knew my email. But now to meet you and like sit down, like I don't even know where I'm at on this.
Shit. Oh God.
Every once in a while he says, "Well, what planet you from?" I'll get some smart ass remarks back from because he didn't like the price I shot him.
I get that every time.
Hey, I'm just doing my job, guys. Just doing my
I
job.
wonder sometimes. Go, well, why did you ask for an offer? If you weren't ready to take an offer, don't ask for an offer.
Well, here's what I know. When I get your offer, I know where the floor's at.
Yeah.
I can only go up from there.
Yeah, I'm always a check writer. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Moving Iron Podcast. And with that, let's go move some iron. Out.
Axon started out of a passion for keeping agriculture moving. Imagine having 100 years of tire and wheel knowledge in your back pocket the next time you sell a piece of ag equipment. To find more or become an Axon dealer, please visit axontire.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours. No matter how you buy your ag equipment, whether it's from a dealer, an auction, or a private party, AgDirect can help you finance it. You can even apply online at agdirect.com. Learn more about your financing options at agdirect.com. TractorZoom has access to over $20 billion in heavy equipment sales data. TractorZoom's Iron Comps is the industry's trusted solution for transparent equipment values and auctionable pricing insights. This podcast is brought to you by Anvil AppWorks. The Dealer Connect CRMI app with integrated inventory management is an affordable Salesforce-based solution for your dealership. Create connected customer experience and transform how you work.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard work.